Hello K-pop lovers. Welcome back to this channel, a place where we don't only talk about music, stages, and camera spotlights, but also about feelings, pressure, and the human side of idols who are often seen as too perfect. Today, we're going to talk about two names that, even when mentioned together, can make timelines pause for a moment. Taehyung and Jungkook. This is not about a comeback, not about a new choreography, not about breaking records, but about a mode, a phase that many fans describe with a term that feels heavy, warm, and at the same time dangerous. Husband mode, a phase that, to some people, may look like nothing more than simple closeness. But to those who truly pay attention, there's a pressure not everyone can understand. A pressure that, according to some fans, their younger counterparts will never experience. It all started with small things. Stares that lasted a little too long. Silence that felt too synchronized. The way they stood side by side, as if the world around them could collapse. As long as they remained on the same line, there was no announcement, no official statement. And it must be emphasized, there is no claim here that can be called absolute truth. And yet, this is exactly where the story grows. In empty spaces, in pauses, between what is seen and what is only felt. In several public moments, Taehyung appeared calmer, more mature, as if carrying something invisible. While Jungkook, who has long been known as cheerful, energetic, and free, slowly showed a quieter side, more restrained. Fans began to ask questions, not loudly, but in whispers. What's going on with them? Why does it feel different? Why does their aura feel like a couple being tested? And from there, the narrative was born. A narrative that didn't come from one big event, but from an accumulation of feelings. For some fans, Taehyung and Jungkook's closeness now feels like two adults standing in the middle of a storm. Not a teenage love storm, but a storm of responsibility, expectations, and the gaze of millions of eyes. If we look strong, it feels like a voice that is never truly spoken. It's because we have no other choice. Those words were never said out loud. But many fans feel that is exactly what they see. On the other side, public reactions are never one color. Some support them wholeheartedly. Some say, let them be happy in whatever form that takes. But there are also those who strongly disagree, and not without reason. Another name is pulled into the conversation, Jimin. For some fans, the narrative of Jungkook and Jimin has long been rooted. Their friendship, their emotional closeness, moments that also carry meaning. And when these two narratives collide, conflict becomes inevitable. Why Taehyung? What about Jimin? Is this betrayal? Or just an exaggerated interpretation? Those questions flood comment sections, discussion forums, even private conversations among fans. That pressure is not only felt within the fandom. In the story fans build, that pressure is also imagined to rest on Taehyung and Jungkook's shoulders. Imagine every smile being analyzed, every distance measured, every interaction dissected. Which ones are sincere, which are too much, and which should not happen. In the collective imagination of fans, this is what husband mode means. Not empty romanticization, but a phase where two adults stand side by side, carrying the same weight. I can't think only about myself anymore. A sentence that often appears in fan narratives, as if spoken by one of them. Every step I take now affects someone else. And this is where the difference is felt. The difference that makes some fans say, their younger counterparts will never feel this. Because the younger ones are still given space to be careless. Still allowed to laugh without burden. Still able to be spontaneous, without having to consider the meaning behind every move. Meanwhile, Taehyung and Jungkook, in this narrative, seem to have stepped into another phase. A quiet phase. A mature phase. There's one moment that fans often talk about. A brief glance. Just a few seconds. Yet enough to make many people say, that was not an ordinary look. No excessive touch. No romantic words. Just silence. And presence. And maybe that is where the real drama lies. Because in the world of celebrities, the most painful thing is not being forbidden to love, but being required to hide feelings. Whether those feelings are real, or only people's perceptions. Some fans imagine a confession that was never captured by cameras. A confession that lives only in stories. I'm tired. So am I. But we have to keep standing. Together. Once again, this is not a claim. Not fact. But an emotional picture of how the public interprets them. And fan reactions continue to split. Some say, love doesn't need everyone's approval. Others write, stop forcing narratives, they're just co-workers. Two sides, two perspectives, and one shared center of attention. Taehyung and Jungkook. What's interesting? Amid all the debate, the two of them appear even calmer, more controlled, as if choosing silence instead of fueling the fire. A silence that, to some, feels cold, but to others, feels incredibly mature. And maybe that is the greatest pressure of all. Not the pressure to explain, but the pressure to explain nothing at all. At the end of the day, what remains is interpretation. Stories built from fans' emotions and humanity's desire to understand relationships in the form closest to their own hearts. Are they truly in husband mode? No one can be sure. Is the pressure real? As public figures, pressure is always there. But one thing is certain. The way the public looks at them has changed. More serious, heavier, more emotional. And that's where we, as viewers, need to pause for a moment. Take a breath and ask ourselves, are we witnessing two adults surviving under the spotlight? Or are we projecting our own hopes and wounds onto their stage? Hello, K-pop lovers. This story does not end with answers, because there was never meant to be only one answer. What remains is discussion, feelings, and space to listen to one another. What do you think? Is this merely a fan narrative taken too far? Or is there truly a pressure not everyone can understand? Write your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss, with calm minds and hearts that still respect them as human beings. See you in the next story.